We grasped from the very start that CAD/CAM technology had a bright future in the field of dentistry. Certainly, we hoped that was going to be the case.
CEREC is all about development. Besides the technological progress, we've always helped our customers to develop themselves.
When we see how happy and satisfied the patients are, then we're happy too.
That's true.
This here is the CEREC 1 model. Back then, it was simply called CEREC, not CEREC 1. What impressed us at the time was that it addressed the issues that were facing dentistry at that moment. And naturally, the fact that a chairside treatment was possible in one session. That was really fascinating.
Now is the time to us means that right now, CEREC is as good as it's ever been in its 35-year history. Even customers who decided a decade ago not to go with CEREC will also confirm that. So now is the perfect time to enter into the world of CEREC.
For us, it was pretty clear from the start that it would come.
At the time, she was working with BlueCam. You were caring for a patient and I was allowed to sit in. And it was clear to us just how cool it was, how much it benefited the patients. So we pretty much knew that when we had our own practice, it would definitely be part of it. It wasn't really a question of whether we'd do it, but rather when. So we integrated it in right from the start, and the patients were really accepting of it as well.
At the heart of it, CEREC has just continued to get better. Each new device has perpetually left the old one in the dust. There was a series of critical points where, looking back, you say, sure, clearly we did the right thing. There was the step that moved from a very simple disc-based grinding chamber to shape the ceramic to today's design, which uses 2 diamond styluses to produce highly delicate structures and almost all relevant forms.
Digitization in general knows only one direction. It constantly moves forward faster and faster. Today, we're no longer talking about replacing individual teeth in the posterior region, but about anterior crowns, veneers, implant restorations. No problem at all. It's simply much, much more than we would have imagined 35 years ago.
In general, the step into opening your own practice is already a hurdle because you're naturally taking on a high financial risk, and you wonder whether it'll work.
CEREC helped us in that we received many new patients who heard via word of mouth that, oh, you can get a tooth replacement done without a conventional impression. And wow, in a single visit. And we are saving a lot of the patient's time. They don't have to come back multiple times, nor do they need a temporary, which means more open appointment slots for us.
CEREC 27.5 certainly drew some laughs for that name. But it simply came at a moment of truly fundamental progress. We were presenting the OmniCam, which was the first camera to allow powderless scanning. All in color, no less. It was a very memorable event, and Las Vegas, the perfect venue. Very emotional. There was a huge audience, and all tremendously excited that this step had finally succeeded.
The enthusiasm that emerged at that point was felt by everyone in the dental industry. It doesn't matter whether you saw it yourself in person or watch it now on YouTube. When you see events like in Las Vegas or in recent years the DS World, or also our launch events from Primescan and Primemill, when you see the enthusiasm, it's catching far beyond the company or the user.
Alongside grinding, scanning is surely the heart of CEREC and is also a mandatory requirement to work chairside. And you can certainly say that the scanning with that first camera was nowhere near as pleasant as scanning is now, using Primescan.
Digital should be fun. We always had that in mind as we were developing Primescan. The fact that it is an enjoyable workflow for both practitioner and assistants, that it is more than just the digitization of an existing process. In fact, digital can't just be better and easier. It really does need to have an element of fun so that the scan becomes enjoyable.
The great part is that our new employees actually enjoy this part of the process. They usually can't wait to finally get their chance to scan on their own first real patients. And so it's good for everyone to see how our team grows into the responsibility. It's even more fun when you can use the CEREC system as a central component for the whole dental practice.
At its core, CEREC thus ultimately promotes growth. It's always pointing towards the path forward, technologically, personally, but also economically for a dental office.
There has always been a certain pioneering spirit to CEREC.
We're driven by a desire to make our patients happy.
Our mission is to provide the technology that makes that possible. The simpler the system, the smaller the technological divide. But also to provide support as a company, to work hand in hand with our customers, to help them develop. And then we can help our customers establish further development. That's why we see so many proud CEREC customers in our community, who are not only able to provide new methods of treatment, but also view CEREC as an enrichment to their own personal vision of a CEREC dental practice.
We've also continued to use the CEREC system to expand our indication spectrum from the digital workflow. This has come bit by bit in some cases.
It was a game changer.
Well, it all started with these 6 prototypes that we'd built and then wanted to put through proper testing. So we found 6 dentists who were willing to participate and try out the technology. Those who came away enthusiastic about the possibilities ultimately became CEREC evangelists. I think this helped us immensely in winning over dentists to our technology, who then in turn passed on their own knowledge.
The enthusiasm of the community and desire to embrace each new milestone is simply indescribable. We've seen this at events like the Omnicam launch, but also at smaller launch events, such as for the CEREC SpeedFire, where we integrated zirconium oxide into the chairside workflow for the first time. This almost childlike joy also with Primescan, when people who were involved from the early days were seeing Primescan in action for the first time and couldn't help but laugh and be happy. That's simply wonderful.
There's something wonderful about being able to talk with one another and ask, how do you do that? And which other indication are you using it for?
Each person brings their own tricks to it and benefits from the exchange. That's why the network is such a cool thing.
I've never seen that kind of collaboration between customers and manufacturers, which is ultimately what we are anywhere else. And I think that you can also attribute it to the fact that CEREC gives something back to customers. Once people take the plunge on CEREC, it makes a huge change in their daily lives and in their practices. You could almost say it's life-changing.
Success and enthusiasm are very catching. And that certainly also reflects the special atmosphere within the CEREC team and has enriched everyone.
Never stop being Prime is our motto and the challenge we pose to ourselves. The goal isn't just to digitize it, not simply to make it possible, but rather to make it possible in an excellent or prime form.
Currently, things move very quickly and technology continues moving ahead faster and faster.
I hope, of course, that this run of innovations will continue.
Our vision is quite clear, that there will only be digital workflows. We imagine that in the future, every visit will begin with a scan, and that we can then also make the data accessible for the lab, specialist, and dentist at once. Then we can acknowledge a digital vision that goes far beyond what CEREC already facilitates today.
We'd wish for ourselves, and we're already planning on adopting new innovations, new technology, an expanded indication spectrum into our digital workflow.
There's no reason that we won't see continued growth, further innovations, and even more of that infectious enthusiasm. That's what I hope for.